Greetings everyone, and a very happy 2017 to you all. I have to say that I'm extremely glad to see the back of 2016. Once again, the last few weeks have conspired against me to keep me off of YouTube. We've had a pretty rough few weeks in the Wolfbane household. At the beginning of December, our medieval reenactment mentor was taken into hospital very poorly. He was discharged and then promptly readmitted. We went to see him a few days after he'd been admitted, and he really wasn't looking particularly well. 2 weeks before Christmas, hubby was on his way home from work when he broke down on the M25. Thankfully, the breakdown people were able to take him to the car park of his next location, and he was able to find somewhere to stay for those couple of nights. But the last time we had the van MOT'd, we had a long list of advisories that would need to be done in order for him to pass the next MOT. And that, on top of the knackered clutch, which it turned out to be, made repairing the van completely uneconomical. So we decided we would have to scrap him. The following day to this, I went down with the flu. I can't remember ever being so cold or so tired. This is Lemmy. You remember Lemmy? I take it he wants some dinner, so I will be back in a moment. Hello again. Cats duly fed. Where was I? Ah, yes. I went down with the flu on the 13th of December, and I can't remember ever having been so cold or having felt so tired, and everything ached. Really weird places ached, like that bit where the top of your leg meets your bum. That ached. My hair follicles hurt. Put my hair up in a ponytail, it hurt. Take it down again, it hurt. I just felt really lousy, and it's very unusual for me, but all I really wanted to do was stay in bed. Unfortunately, I still had to work, and being self-employed, if I don't go to work, then I don't get paid. Plus, my dance school had its exam session on the 15th of December, so I had to be up for that. On the Friday, what I really wanted to do was just stay in bed all day, but no, I had to drive up to deepest, darkest Hertfordshire to rescue my hubby, and we said goodbye to the van. Of course, there was a whole bunch of stuff in the van that then came home with us, and promptly got shoved into the dining room, where it stayed for the next 2 weeks. That evening was my work's Christmas dinner, which I didn't make. I went into dancing on the Saturday. Thankfully, it was the last day of term and I managed to make it through the day. But there was a gig that night and we didn't make it to that either. I am not a churchgoer, I'm not a Christian, but I really do enjoy the carols by candlelight service at my mum's church, which was on the 18th of December. Well, I phoned her in the middle of the afternoon to apologise, to say that I would not be going because I wasn't very well. To hear her squeaking like a frog on the other end of the phone, in my infinite generosity, I had passed the flu on to her. Monday morning, hubby got up and went off to work, and halfway through the day, the flu hit him. So once again, in my generosity, I had passed it on to him. That evening, I was supposed to be going out for a meal with a friend of mine, but by this time I had no appetite whatsoever and was feeling really quite rough, so I cancelled that as well. I did go to the hospital to see our mentor, and he was not in a particularly good way. I struggled into work on the Tuesday morning only to be sent home early, and as I got home I received a phone call from our mentor's wife asking that I go up to the hospital because his passing was imminent. I got up there, I suppose, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Hubby joined me about 8 o'clock in the evening, and at 11 o'clock that night we decided that we would have to come home. He was stable, His breathing was shallow but regular, and he was just very comfortable but asleep. So we came home. I had been told by work that I was not to go in on Wednesday morning because I would simply be sent home again. Obviously the universe had things in place, because at 8 o'clock on Wednesday morning, the solstice morning, I got a call from our mentor's wife to say that he had flown into the sunrise. So the solstice was a kind of mixed bag. A nice day to pass on, I believe, to go at sunrise on that day. That evening I made it to see Balaam and the angel and the fields of the Nephilim. I wanted to do something to celebrate Yule, and I stayed on my feet for most of it. I got halfway through the first encore before my body decided that that was enough and everything was going to ache all at once, right now. So I listened to the remainder of the first encore and the second encore, sitting down at the back of the venue like a big wuss, but at least I made it all the way through the gig. On Thursday I phoned my mum to apologise profusely. We were supposed to have been entertaining Mum and my stepdad for Christmas Day, but there was just no way it was going to happen. The bathroom still wasn't finished, the house was in uproar, everything was covered in a fine layer of dust. We just hadn't been well enough to get any of it done, and as it turned out, my mum, in her infinite generosity, had passed this on to my stepfather, and they were both feeling very under the weather as well. Excuse me. So Christmas Day came. I did our traditional Christmas morning breakfast, which for me was crumpets and salmon. The cats got most of the salmon, I just couldn't finish it. Hubby did manage to get a croissant down his throat, but couldn't manage any more. That afternoon I went up to see our mentor's wife. I didn't want her to be alone all day on Christmas Day, so I went and saw her for a couple of hours. We'd already started the process of arranging the cremation. She's decided she's not having a funeral. We're going to have a celebration of his life a little bit later this year. It's something a bit more appropriate than a insert name here funeral service at some faceless crematorium. It really wasn't until the middle of the following week that I started to get over the flu, and then was promptly walloped by a really heavy cold, the last dregs of which you can probably hear. I did not know that one small mucous membrane was capable of producing so much globular protein. It was a right passion killer, it has to be said. I was going to bed every night wearing full thermals, fluffy socks, my nice fluffy dressing gown, hot water bottle. I was practically sitting upright so that I didn't drown in my own snot. It was hideous, absolutely hideous. As you know, I'm a pretty big Star Wars geek. We finally got to see Rogue One last Friday, so the day before New Year's Eve. It had been out for ages, but we just didn't feel well enough to go and see it. We did manage a small gathering on New Year's Eve. Just a few friends came over. It didn't stop us staying up until 2:30, which was kind of nice, but it was more of a gathering of friends sitting round drinking tea and chatting, talking rubbish. So a very nice way to see in 2017, but not by any means a raucous party. We did get to see the Assassin's Creed movie on New Year's Day, and it was absolutely brilliant. I'm not going to spoil it for any of those who haven't yet seen it, but it was a fantastic film. But other than that, it has to be said, we have been pretty useless. I've got 2 Spooky Box Club boxes waiting to be unboxed, which I just hadn't got round to, didn't have either the time or the energy. They are now probably completely out of date, but I will do an unboxing video for each of them, and if they're any good, I will post them for you. I know I said this last time, but hopefully now normal service will actually resume now that I am feeling ever so much better. In the meantime, I hope you have all had a lovely festive season and have a peaceful, healthy and prosperous 2017. And until the next time, take care. Bye.